Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Ken. I wanted to do commentary on this. I did release a video already, this video in full without commentary, and this is just going to be some commentary on tell you what's going on here. So that first scene was where I just milled it down from 2 inches down to 1 3/4 inches, and now I'm just setting it up to do the milling on the body. I did have some issues with it. The main reason I'm doing the body without the top is because I'm concerned about, I bought a very expensive top. It was over $200 just for the top, and I didn't want to mess it up with the CNC because I'm fairly new with CNC, and I just wanted to make sure that doesn't happen. I did purchase this file for this Stratocaster off of Etsy. They're fairly inexpensive, you can get them there. And I'm just running this CNC that I actually built. I do have a video on sharing that project, and then at some point I'm gonna probably release a video in detail on how to build a CNC. That probably will be in the next few months. But anyway, this is the back of the body, the tremolo cavity. So the whole thing has to be lined up perfectly to do the back, the front from the back. So you can't see it on this, but I've lined it up based on holes that I've had. So this just was cutting out the belly. This is cutting out a more fine cut, I think it is. And like you see on the screen there, hey, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. It would really help support me, and that's pretty much the only way to support. You don't have to give money. It's a great way to support this channel, because YouTube, that's the currency of YouTube, is likes, subscribes. So anyway, this is that top I mentioned. Beautiful top. It's quilted maple. It's yeah, probably, I think when I got it, it was like 5 mil, 6 mil, and I needed it to be down to 3 mils. So I went ahead and cut it out, installed it. Well, I'm getting ready to install it here in a minute. Yeah, and I did not film putting the two together where you basically join them. I could have done that, but I just didn't. Some of these things I forgot to film. My apologies, but I did film roughly 380 clips just to make this entire 18-minute video over a course of months as I built this. So here I'm just gluing it with Tight Bond 3. It's pretty good for that. Gives you some working time, but does a very good job. At first I did this without, you can see I put some nails in there to kind of keep it from moving. At first I actually tried to do it without using any kind of pins, or it just didn't work out. The thing kept moving because glue was kind of slippery. Anyway, so I went ahead and put those in there, and that, you know, drilled holes to keep it from moving and all that stuff, and it really was nice. So I'm here, I'm putting them on, and I'm just kind of checking, make sure that it actually is in line, because I was very concerned about that. So I put 2 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood together, and it does a good job keeping it tight. I would love to have a big wine press or something like that to just compress the whole thing, make it a whole lot easier, but this will work. Now I'm using this little stool here because it's easy to, I'm doing this in my basement because it's kind of cold out at this point where I'm at in St. Louis. And I did put a heater out in my garage to be able to do some work, so, and surrounded it with plastic. So here I'm just routing out that top all the way around. I've fast forwarded through some of this stuff and just milling it back down to I think definitely more than 3 mil there left, but I'm leaving some room for sanding and different things. I did forget to, I have had comments on this. One guy even thought it was a sticker that read, after you'll see I get this, he thought, hey, where's the holes in the top that all of a sudden the pickup holes, cavities and all that show up. But I did forget to film that. Here I'm putting in a channel for the barely almost missed that. I was putting in a channel for this, the binding, and so I'm just using tape to. I apply this with acetone. It's a very good way to do this. If you're watching this and trying to figure out a good way to put binding on guitars, acetone in there will create its own glue, and it will be a great way to keep it on there. I've never had any problem with any of it coming off, even years down the line. So it's very easy. You could probably do what I'm doing and use what's called capillary technique, where you just kind of go ahead and tape the whole thing on there and then just kind of douse the edges with acetone and let it seep in there. But I know it probably works. I just rather have it in there. I'd rather brush it in each one really well. So here I speed it up 20 times to be able to, just so you don't get bored watching me put tape on. But I really like the acetone technique. If you're in Europe, I don't think you can get that, at least in the UK. I've heard you can't, last time I heard, but maybe you can now. So just speeding through that, trying to keep everything tight, and as I do it, making sure it doesn't have a gap below and it's pushed all the way down and all the way in, and just making sure it goes on there. It dries within a matter of, I don't know, it's probably seconds, under a minute it's dry, my guess. It does make it soft. If you make mistakes with your binding, you can actually take some of the binding, melt it in acetone, and patch areas if you had to. It's kind of a neat thing. It's a cellulose binding. I think it's cellulose. Correct me if I'm wrong. If this has helped you, also, if these videos have helped you, comment down there, let me know. I'd appreciate it. Many of you have commented on this video. It's done actually really well, way better than I kind of thought it would. So thank you for that. Those of you who have commented on it. So here I just cut off the excess and just took a file to the edges, and try not to go too far because you can't come back. You want to make sure your neck pocket's really tight. And then I just take a razor blade and cut off the excess everywhere. Both the top, the sides. And next time I will go a little bit smaller on the bearing for the binding bit, so that the channel is a little bit deeper, so I won't have to do as much removal. So here I'm doing the sides, and I didn't film a lot of it. I filmed some of it, just enough to kind of give an idea of what I'm doing. Also with the sanding, you can see I didn't film hardly any of the sanding, but there's hours of sanding that are involved in a guitar. Here I'm using leather dye. It's Angelus leather dye. Very good stuff. In the video you're watching now is actually the second time I stained this. The first time I stained it black, and then I sanded it back with a little bit of the black left in there, and then I put red over it. It looked like a tiger. It was really cool, but it wasn't actually the look I was going for. So I sanded it all back again, and now I just wanted to put red on it. I didn't want as much of the black showing through, and I think I really kind of did what I was looking for on that on the second time around. So if you see a short that I put on there on my channel here, you can go look at it if you want it, but it's actually not the same color. It's, like I said, has the black in it. But this is really easy to use. I really recommend Angelus, and actually I'm going to put in the description, I'm going to put really all the products that I've used on this, and hopefully that'll help you. I'll mention some of the finishing products that I use too. The Angelus is amazing. Big D Guitars turned me onto it. If you get a chance to see Big D Guitars on YouTube, he has a lot of good videos that will help you if you're building guitars. So a shout out to him. So here I'm just taking off the tape, you know. Kind of looks like velvet in this picture, but yeah, kind of. And so right here I'm just using a razor blade. I actually got a magnifying glass that goes on your head like a jeweler, and it really helps you to see it well. And I'm only showing a little bit of it because it could be very tedious to watch on a video. So yeah, and then I get on to filming the neck. This is well into the video that I'm filming the neck, but not to bore you. I have plenty of, not to bore you with these pictures of these videos of the neck. So right here, I actually did this by hand. I put this. This is not part of the CNC program. I actually just kind of put it up there and made my own little 1/4-inch cut down the middle, and then kind of fabricated it right there where you can see I'm cutting. So here I'm starting with the fretboard, and the fretboard I also did on the CNC, although I did not film the fret slots. I could not find the video of the fret slots, you know, so I'm setting it up here, make sure it's right where I want it to get the right look. I'm using universal G-code sender in the CNC that I built, and zeroing it, and here we go. So this is the dots, the fret markers marking the 5th, 7th, 12th, you know, all that stuff. Putting glue in there, and buy these little dots you can buy on Amazon. Like I said, I'll put all that in the description. If anybody's watching this building guitars, a lot of you are. And you know, a side note, I've found building guitars is not as hard as it looks. Yeah, anyway, so here I'm putting an accelerator on it, and actually I'm cutting over this. This is the radius on the CNC program, and actually that third from the last one broke off on me, so I had to fix that. But there it is. Again, I'm not filming the entire thing, or this video would be a long video. That's the nut slot, taking it off, cleaning it up, and getting ready to glue it here. Want to keep the glue out of the truss rod slot. I'm using a radius sanding block to clamp it down. Putting as many clamps as I can get in there, and making sure I don't overdo it. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of what I do I've not filmed. Here I'm installing the frets. Kind of cutting the slots a little bit better. I did actually mess up the slots on the CNC, and I did do a video on that if you want to check it out. It's called Fixing the Fret Slots. But here I'm cutting the stainless steel frets with the rotozip because it's just easier than side cutters. They tend to smash them in my experience, but maybe you guys can tell me a better way. But using the Stumac press works really well. This is also a Stumac file that you can get that will file one way, it'll file 45 degrees, and the other way it'll file 90. It's a really good way to do your fret dressing. And so here I'm doing the back of the neck, which you can do on the CNC. I did the Telecaster I did a while back on the CNC, and I just haven't done the G-code, so I decided to go ahead and just do it by hand. And so I draw that line down the middle so that I don't touch the middle at all. If I don't touch the middle at all, at least it keeps it symmetrical. And this is just a little bit of the filming of the whole thing. It was a whole lot more of that, and I did use a lot of sanding. So here it is, finished, and I'm just kind of cleaning it off. So here I'm measuring for the side dots. I'm using these little rods you can get on Amazon. It took me maybe 2 of these little rods, so in a little package you get a bunch of them. Again, I'll leave the description, I'll leave the link for that. I'm gluing them in with CA glue or super glue. It doesn't take much, so if you do this, don't put much in there. Just enough to get it in there, and you put it in, cut it off. And then here I'm going to use the same file I used a little while ago for the frets. I'm using it 90 degrees to the side where the dots are, and just cuts it off really nicely. It doesn't take much at all. Here I'm using 2K Glamour Coat. This is after 2 coats of sanding sealer and a couple of coats of aqua coat, which like I said, I'll put in the comments below the links to those. I actually again did not film the putting in the creating the Faraday cage with the copper or doing the finish work, but this would have been a very long video had I done that. But I do have individual videos for most of these processes. This is a titanium nut that it's too tall, I'm just making it shorter. And now this is the final assembly, which is kind of self-explanatory. Here I'm installing fender locking tuners. Locking tuners are awesome. You can put the string in there, lock it, and it doesn't have to go around a bunch of times. And while it's in the shop, the headstock, I'm planning on putting Studt on the headstock there. I just haven't gotten the logo ready for that. Here I just installed a pre-wired pickup guard. You would think I would have done the wiring. That's what I do for a living. I'm actually solder certified on J standard, but I just didn't want to do it, so anyway, I just bought one. It's pretty self-explanatory. I had already drilled the holes for this and putting it on there. Now, after this, all I have is left is to screw the jack in and put strings on, and we're good to go. The strings I use are 09 Super Slinks, and if there's a string you like better, leave a comment below. I'd like to hear from you on that. And here's the final product. Thanks for watching.